And from here, we're just gonna do a little bit of breathing practice. So forehead down on the mat, we're gonna be inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. We're gonna practice that several times because as we go through the movements today, we're gonna need to be present with the breath in every movement. We are slowly going to push into downward dog. Please give me 2 seconds. The computer is notifying me of some weird thing again. There we go. Okay. So pushing into downward dog. We get a nice good length, really pushing through the hands. Separating the fingertips, really grabbing the ground with the fingers and the knuckles. And we're now going to bring one heel to the ground and one heel up. We're gonna try to lengthen through the back body and make sure that you're breathing throughout. We're gonna go ahead and go for a switch. And switching up. We're going to push into a nice tall plank and we're going to bring ourselves down to the mat. From here, we're going to warm up the shoulders. So the hands will go right below the elbows and we're going to push into a nice small cobra. So we're really pulling the shoulder blades back, pushing down into the ground with the hands, breathing. And we're going to come down for a moment, making sure that the hands are directly below the elbows. And we're going to go ahead and come up once more, really spreading those shoulder blades while bringing them together, spreading the shoulders apart, looking up. And coming down. So we're going to go ahead and get back into a nice plank position, pushing into downward dog. Taking nice long breaths. So now we're going to come up as high as possible on the toes. We're going to rock forward, split the shoulder blades apart, bring the knee up and step it forward. So we're coming up and we're really trying to use as much of the muscle that we have to pull that knee up and step through. What we're going to do now is we're going to come on right back down. We're going to reverse this. So the knee is going to come up. We're going to push back into the downward dog and breathe. Again, pushing as much through the hands as possible and really lengthening the back body. I'm going to go for the other side. So pushing forward with the toes, spreading the shoulder blades apart, and knee comes up, and you take a step, bringing it up. This will make the next several vinyasas a little bit easier, so we're going to remember that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and step to the tops of our mats. Just going to move this back. And we're going to go for a nice sun salutation. So here we go, hands up to the sky, inhale, exhale. We're going to fold on down, breathing. We're going to come up halfway, spine flat. Coming down to the mat. And what we're going to do is we're going to try a bit of a small step back into tall plank and lowering down. This time we're gonna go for a nice full Cobra. So really, really coming up, spreading the shoulders apart. You can gently look up. It'll help to lengthen the spine and breathing. Lowering down. We're going to push right back up into downward dog. With every exhale, you're going to be pulling your belly button in towards the spine. And this time we're going to move our feet together. We're going to come up on the toes, bend the knees, and we're going to jump forward to the front of the mat where we're going to come up on an inhale for a sun salutation. Exhale, right on down. We're slowly starting to stretch more into the back body. So the hamstrings, back of the thighs, hips. On an inhale, come up back flat. Or you can come up halfway. And on the exhale, reach down and really get comfortable through this position. From here, what we're gonna do is we're really gonna sink in. So we're gonna grab opposite elbows and we're really just gonna hang. So the head hangs, the upper back hangs. We're really gonna try to get nice and low and relaxed. And what you can gently do is just twist gently from side to side. We're really decompressing the spine here. We're gonna get our hands down to the ground, last touch. We're gonna come up on an inhale. Exhale, hands down to the mat. We can bring the toes up as high as possible. Bend the knees, jump back into a tall plank, and lower yourself gently towards the ground. We're gonna come right up into up dog. We're gonna take nice deep breaths. Trying to open the shoulders and breathe. We're gonna push ourselves back into downward dog and take some nice long deep breaths. We are now going to step into warrior one. You're going to get a leg up right nice and straight. Push up onto the toe of the supporting leg. Really bend the knee through and forward, step, and coming up. Hands up over the head, warrior one. We're going to come down, step forward. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, coming down. And we are going to now come up on the toes, bend the knees, and jump right back into tall plank. Pushing through to downward dog. We are going to switch sides. Other leg goes back nice and straight. Coming up on the toe, knee to chest, and step. Arms up overhead, warrior one. We're gonna go ahead, bring our hands down, take a step to the front of the mat. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bringing it down. We are again going to hang here for just a moment. Very good. Inhale, hands overhead. Bring them to heart center. We're gonna go for a nice chair pose. So get prepared. The hips sink back, chest stays up. And we're gonna just reach up towards the sky, lengthen through the side body, around the ribs, and breathe. On the inhale, come up onto the toes, and we're slowly going to sink down towards the ground. Once there, we're gonna just pop down into a nice low squat, reaching forward. And we're really pushing the knees out. We're going to bring ourselves up for a nice stretch. And from here, we are just going to pop a step back. We're going to go for a nice standing split. So if you have your right foot forward, the right hand is going to wrap around. The left fingertips are going to support. We're going to go ahead and bring the leg up as high as possible. And hold. You can wrap around, get nice and close to your supporting leg. Really feel that stretch through the hamstrings of your supporting leg. We're going to come on down. Gently just take a step back with that supporting leg. And what we're going to do is just come up and practice a little bit of a jump into a handstand. Obviously, you don't have to do the handstand, but what you're gonna do is you're just gonna come up onto the toe, bend the knee, and just jump. And just see how it feels, and get a little bit more comfortable and used to it. So we're gonna try a couple here. You can get a good bend going through the leg. And maybe you'll find a small area where you can balance. Try one last time, and then we're going to come down into this forward position. We're going to bring the hands up on an inhale, hands to heart center, readjust along the mat if need be, and we will try the other side. We're going to pop down. We're going to get the opposite leg back. So if the left leg is now supporting, the left hand will wrap around, right fingertips supporting your weight. Leg will go up, and you can really wrap around and get close to that stabilizing leg, feeling a big stretch through the hamstring. And you can bring that down and gently readjust. Hands go flat on the mat. Coming up onto the toe, bending the knee. And again, just trying to find that stable center. And maybe some of you will even find a nice stable center and push into a handstand for a moment. That being said, don't worry if you haven't found it yet. It is quite the practice. We're gonna head to the back of the mat. Take a quick sip of water here if you would like. You can also hang out in child's pose before we move on to the next little segment. So I'm gonna grab a quick sip of water as well. And we are now going to push into yet another downward dog. Hopefully getting comfier and comfier through this position. We're gonna go ahead and take the toes up nice and high, pushing the shoulder blades apart. One knee comes forward. Take a step. We are going to push into warrior two. So readjust your feet if need be. We're going to stay for a couple of deep breaths. And observing really, really deep breathing. Really trying to push that front knee out as much as possible, opening up the inner thighs. On an inhale, we're going to come down with the hand on the inside of the foot. We're going to stay and look up towards our fingertips. Still trying to push the knee out. We're going to come right back into warrior two. And on every inhale, we're going to come down, look up. Exhale, we're going to push right up and through. So you want to draw out the inhale as long as you can, and the exhale as well. Coming to center, we're going to go ahead and do a quick switch. Once done, on an inhale, we're going to come down, pushing the supporting knee out, looking up towards the fingertips. Nice long breathing. We're going to come right back to center. On our inhale, we're going to come down, and on the exhale, we're going to come right back up. So nice long inhales and exhales. We're really working through that front leg. We are now going to close the toes off straight into the midline. You can get nice and wide as you would like for this foot. And we are going to get the hands down to the ground and really stretch into this position. So again, very nice long deep breaths. And as you get comfortable, you can bring yourself down onto the elbows. Let the head hang. If you can, you're going to walk your hands back behind the legs and reach back as far as you can. Bringing the head down towards the mat. Out of this pose, we're going to go ahead and try a headstand. We are already most of the way there. So feel free to set up your hands and your knees on the ready. You can just use your head and hands as a tripod. And you can use your knees on the elbows to guide you. When you're coming up into a headstand, you want to be sweeping the feet out if possible. So take your time. We're going to try a couple. And if through the first one, you started with the knees up on the elbows, try now, once they're there, to push them out into a bit of a straddle before you bring the legs up. It brings a good amount of harmony as you're coming up. Very good. Once you come down, we're going to go ahead and meet at the very top of the mat. We're going to stand, let the blood rush back down the rest of the body. And we're going to work on a little bit of balance and twist. So I'm going to flip this forward. Everyone can see well. We're going to position ourselves with our feet just about shoulder width apart, if not narrower. We're going to push into another chair pose. On an inhale, hands to heart, we're going to go ahead and twist to one side. We're really opening up, pushing the elbow into the knee to get the rib cage really twisting. We're going to come back to center, and we're going to go for the other direction. Same thing, digging that elbow into the knee and twisting the rib cage over the hips as much as possible. Coming back to center. We're now going to practice some tree pose. So we're going to start nice and low with the foot on the calf. This should feel fairly nice and stable, very, very grounded. Get as much feedback as you can, get nice and stable, because for the next 5 deep breaths, we're going to try to close our eyes. Here we go. So if we fumble, that's no trouble at all. We're just going to move on to the other side before coming back and revisiting the first side. So here we are for a nice switch. Get very, very comfortable in the position that you're in. Try to get nice and stable using your toes to ground you and closing the eyes for 5 deep breaths. Excellent. So you might have noticed one side a little bit more stable than the other. So we're going to go ahead and switch. And keeping that in mind, we're going to try once more. So get nice and stable, get as much feedback as you can from the position that you're in, and closing the eyes and holding for 5 deep breaths. Very good. If you come out of it, no worries. Go on ahead, switch sides. I'm going to try this one last one. With open eyes, get as much feedback as you can. Get grounded through your toes, closing the eyes for 5 deep breaths. Very good. We're now going to go ahead and up the ante a slight bit. So you can grab the foot, bring it up nice and high along the thigh. From here, you can hold your hands at heart center or out, whatever is most comfortable. Grounding through the toes, same thing, 5 deep breaths. And stepping down once done. Very well done. We're going to go ahead and switch sides. Position the foot in a nice, fairly comfortable position. Ground through the feet. And take 5 deep breaths with eyes closed. Take your time. Whenever you come on down, we're going to go ahead and switch sides and try one more per leg. Switch sides whenever you are ready. Ground through the supporting foot. Very good. So, having done that, we're going to try one last one on 2 legs, and it'll be curious to see if it feels any better. But if the last couple exercises felt like turbulence on a plane, no worries. With time, it'll come. It's really difficult to hold your balance with your eyes closed. So we're going to bring the feet in just about within shoulder width. And what we'll do is we're going to come up onto the toes as high as possible. And we're going to try to close the eyes for 5 deep breaths. Hands at heart center or out by your sides. Come down onto the heels after those 5 deep breaths. Feel free to take a second. We will try twice more. And if you'd like to, you can bring the toes in very close together if you'd like to make it harder. Or wider if you'd like to make it just a slight bit easier. So here we go. And again, bringing it down after those 5 deep breaths. And taking one more attempt, potentially trying a different foot width. And coming down. So it's only in moments like these when we find out just how much our eyes do for us on a daily basis. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move down to the mat once more. Do feel free to grab a sip of water if you feel it's needed. We're going to get the hands with the fingertips pointed out towards the sides. You can crank them back a little bit more if your wrists and shoulders feel comfortable. Feet shoulder width apart. We're going to squeeze and push up through full tabletop and come down. Get nice and adjusted. And we'll be moving through this movement several times. Really pushing away from the ground with the hands. And we'll push through one last one. And hold. On an exhale, coming down, we are going to go for a nice reach. If you would like to, you can extend one leg and keep the other bent as you reach back to kind of help with keeping the shoulder happy. Otherwise, you can bend both knees. It'll be a little bit more weight through the supporting shoulder. The whole time we're going to be through this reach, you're really going to want to make sure to lengthen through your supporting joint so as to not let it hang out this low. It just doesn't feel very comfortable and it feels far more difficult, at least the way I see it. So if you're going to be pushing back on your left side, the left leg can be extended. Pushing back on the right side, right leg is extended. Take your pick, get nice and comfortable. And here we go, we're going to be here for a set of 5. Looking down at the fingertips, once in the arch. We're going to go for a last couple. Take your time. So practicing the tabletop right before this is a great way to get the glutes going and firing as you squeeze up through the back bend. I'm going to go ahead and switch sides. And same thing, pushing right through the supporting shoulder and squeezing your bum as tight as possible. One last one. And coming down to the mat. We're going to find ourselves in a nice laying down position, finally, with the knees over the hips. The hands can stay over the shoulders or down to the side, whatever is most stable for you. We're going to bring the legs down, swing the heels towards the hips. And what we're going to do now is on an inhale, we're going to tap the toe down. Exhale, bring the knee back up. And switching sides. Very minute, very tiny, tiny movement. It's an excellent time to be fully aware of the core and the breathing all at once. So inhale, tapping. Exhale, coming back. Pulling the belly button into the spine. With every exhale, very good. You can bring your knees in towards the chest. I'm just quickly going to explain the next progression we're going to take care of. It'll start out of the same starting position. The only difference now is we won't take it as slow. So on an inhale, one leg will go down. On the exhale, the opposite will be going down. So we're almost increasing double time what we were doing for the last little exercise. Here we go. Be very aware of the core. Belly button in towards the spine. Inhale, toe tap down. Exhale, other toe will tap down. Do not allow the knee to go any higher than the hip crease. This way we keep the focus on the core. Very good. Keep breathing. We're almost there. Very good. Bring the knees in towards the chest. You must have noticed that it was the same limbs moving on the inhale as on the exhale. So for the next couple moments, we're going to reverse that. So if on your inhale, the right knee was tapping down, and on the exhale, the left toe was tapping down, we're going to switch that. So on the inhale, you're going to send your other leg down, and on the exhale, you're going to send the opposite. So we're switching things up believe it or not, that does affect how the core and hips stabilize along with your breathing. So here we go, hands at the ready, just switching things up here a tad. Here we go. And you might find you feel this slightly differently on this side. Just follow the breathing. And pull the belly button down towards the spine with every exhale. Almost through. Keep breathing. And hugging knees to chest. Take a nice deep breath. Let go of all of that built up tension through the body. We are going to conveniently go for a stretch through here. So starting with the ankles, we are going to rotate them out. Keeping the knees shoulder width apart so you have plenty of space for those rotations. We're going to go ahead and switch sides, switch directions, sorry. Very good. We're going to hold one leg, opposite ankle will cross over, and you will reach through the space created by the knee. We're going for a nice hip stretch here. So really indulge in it, taking nice long deep breaths in and good drawn out exhales as well. Feel free to close your eyes through the stretches. On the next exhale, we'll switch sides. And again, relaxing every muscle in the body as we take nice drawn in inhales and exhales. Relaxing the legs into a neutral position. We're now going into happy baby pose. So we're just going to grab the feet, pull the knees back, and rock from side to side gently. Feeling a nice inner thigh stretch. If you'd like, you can even pull the legs higher up for a slightly increased stretch. Same nice long drawn out deep breaths. Bringing the knees together, hugging the knees with the hands. We're gonna rock forward and back and forth, nice and gently, chin tucked into chest. And come on up